Hey, Instant Potheads, how are you? Welcome to another episode of Cuong Can Cook. Today, we're making beef pho. So last time we made the chicken pho, and this time we moved over to the beef. Normally when you make pho, you have to use a lot of bones when you're using the beef. When we make it for the family, we use these giant 32-quart stock pots, and we make a lot at a time. And that's not gonna be possible in the Instant Pot. Pho itself comes from the French word pot au feu, which was so you can clearly see that there's a big French influence in Vietnam. I don't know if you know, when the French colonized Vietnam, they took over a lot of stuff from the country. If you go to Vietnam now, you'll notice that unlike the other Asian cultures, we don't have any characters in our language. Our language is actually made up of the French alphabet. So we have all of the regular letters plus those strange little marks. Notice if you ever had bánh mì, right? The French baguette sandwiches. We also have a lot of other French influences in our desserts, and especially here in what's recognized pretty much as one of the national dishes of Vietnam is our pho. It's a spiced noodle soup that we're gonna be making today. As always though, before we get started, we have to make sure that we take care and oil up the machinery before we get cooking. That's right, time to lube up and get ready to cook. As luck would have it, I am fresh out of grapefruit shandy this week. Today we are substituting with some goose and soda. I hope you don't mind. I'm going to be drinking it out of my cup. Get a little goose. I'm gonna get a little loose. We'll be making beef pho. Stay lubed and let's get started. First thing you're gonna need is these beef oxtails. Now they're not actually from an ox, they're usually from a cow, but calling them cow tails means that a lot of people won't buy them. So get yourself some oxtails, but in the Instant Pot we can get away with only using 2 pounds of these oxtails, where you would normally have to use 4 to 5 pounds of beef bones, and you won't get any meat off of them. So get yourself some oxtails. That's the first thing you have to have in order to make pho, beef pho, in the Instant Pot. Now, in the chicken pho, I said this was optional, and that's correct. But in the beef pho, you really do need these pho spices, okay? If you can't get them, if you cannot find them anywhere, go ahead and pick up some star anise, coriander seeds, fennel seeds, cardamom, and clove. Those are the basics. This one also adds cinnamon and licorice. So if you like those types of flavors, you can add them too. So you're gonna need this and something to hold them in while they're in the broth so that you can get them out later. The ginger and the onion, we're gonna char these on the stove top, and once they're charred, they're gonna go into the soup as well. Some pho noodles, okay? This right here is the basics. This with the fish sauce is all you need to make a basic pho, beef pho at home. What else can you add to it? Traditionally, when you go to the restaurant, you're gonna order pho thai. Thai means these really thinly sliced eye of round beef. So you can see here, I bought a package where it's already sliced paper thin. It's gonna sit on top of the noodles, and the boiling hot broth that we pour on top will finish cooking these exactly to how you like them done. If your butcher doesn't already have this slice for you, you can buy an eye of round roast or a hunk of filet mignon, put it in the freezer for 45 minutes and slice it as thin as you can, and you'll basically get this, and you can use that instead, okay? You wanna make it even better? Here's the next step. Beef brisket. This is called gao. So when you order gao in your pho bowl, what you're getting is some slices of this beef brisket. Super tough. So we're gonna cook it with the oxtail, and when we do that, it's gonna come out very tender. Interesting thing about gao. So you see the meat on this side, there's some fat. This fat, once we cook it up and slice it thin, you're gonna be able to eat it. That fat, you don't think it's good, but it adds this level of flavor into what you're eating that's incredible. So definitely get the gao, the beef brisket, if you get a chance. Got some meatballs, ba viên. So if you ever order pho with bò viên, that's what these are. Now these meatballs are special. They're not like the Italian style. They don't have those herbs and spices in them. But what they do have is little pieces of tendon. And so they come out crunchy and delicious. So you want, if you get access to these meatballs, you're gonna want some meatballs as well. And finally, I have actual tendon, okay? I'm not using both these pieces. I'm saving I bought this to make bạc kho, beef stew, later this week. But we're gonna throw a half of a piece of tendon in there to cook up. You slice it real thin. As I've said before, if you cook these properly, they're not tough, they're not sinewy, they're gonna taste like beefy gummy bears. They're delicious. They're chock full of collagen and fantastic things that are really good for your skin. They'll make you look great. So get yourself some beef tendon if you can. And we'll put that in our pho. All right. We still have the green onion, the cilantro, and the Thai basil. Thai basil smells amazing. I know I said all this was optional. This is not optional. If you want it to truly taste like pho, you're gonna need some Thai basil. Substitute with regular basil. Won't exactly be the same, but Thai basil is what you want. You're gonna want some jalapenos. This will add some spice. Even though you're gonna add sriracha and hoisin sauce to the broth, a couple of slices of jalapeno will make it just right. And this final herb, I'll talk about it later, but this is called sawtooth herb. This is such a traditional pho ingredient, okay? This leaf has these little sawtooth edges along it. That's why it's called sawtooth herb. It's got a flavor that's a lot like cilantro, maybe a little bit more mild. It's delicious. Rip these up, put them in your bowl, and you'll have a traditional bowl of pho. Let's get started. When you make traditional pho with the bones, the first time you boil the bones, a lot of scummy, yucky stuff comes out of the bones. And if we leave that in the broth, it's gonna make the broth look cloudy and not as good. So what we need to do first is clean these bones. The way we're gonna do it is by doing a pre-boil in the Instant Pot to make sure that the bones get clean, all right? So what I'm gonna do is take our oxtail bones, put them in the Instant Pot. Okay, we've got a nice char going on the onion and the ginger. I'm gonna go ahead and pull them. We're gonna rinse them out, get them ready for the soup. And give them a quick rinse. And we're ready to go. Now we're gonna toast our pho spices. Make sure those essential oils get released so that they can go into the soup. So I'm just gonna dump them right here into this dry can. And we'll let that go. Once they're done, put them in our bag. We're gonna dump that into the soup later, okay? So our oxtails have been boiling for about 2 or 3 minutes right now. As you can see, the water is very cloudy and all this scummy, yucky stuff has come out of them. That's exactly what we want to come out of them now. We don't want this in our final product. That's why we're doing this pre-boil, okay? So it's boiled enough, a lot of the scums come out. We're gonna go ahead and take this to the sink, dump everything out, wash the oxtail with some clean water, and we're gonna put everything back in and get ready to make pho. I'm removing all of the oxtail. Is it on?
Go.
All right, hope you're staying lubed. I know it's a complicated process. It's gonna be worth it, all right? Now in the pot right now, we've got the cleaned oxtail bones. We're gonna add our piece of tendon, the onion, and the charred ginger. We're going to add our piece of brisket and our spice pack. And just make sure that you stay below the maximum fill line on the Instant Pot. 1 tablespoon of sugar, again, not actually cashews. And we're gonna add 1/4 cup of fish sauce. Make sure you measure this exactly. Now, we're gonna put the lid on and it's gonna magically call for the minion to come out to help us make our pho soup. Okay, make sure the vent knob is on sealing. We're gonna set it to manual for 45 minutes. I've already done that. And once it gets up to pressure, and in 45 minutes, we're gonna do a quick release. And we're gonna have ourselves some pho. See you then. Okay, our 45-minute cook time is up. We're ready to open the pot and take a look at what's inside. We've released the pressure, so here we go. Oh, look at all that. It smells amazing. So now we're gonna give ourselves a nice little taste. It's good. It needs a little more salt and fish sauce, and then we'll get to eating. Be right back. Okay, we're gonna take the piece of tendon out. You can see it already looks like our favorite gummy bears. And I'm also gonna pull out the piece of brisket. We're gonna slice that up. Okay, if you can see, it is coming apart beautifully. It is absolutely the texture of gummy bears. Okay, now the other thing is that when you're cooking this, you're gonna get a big layer of grease on top, okay? And we wanna go ahead and remove that. So, using your ladle, take off the top layer. If you make this pho in advance, and really no one ever does, you could chill it in the refrigerator overnight. And when you do that, you can then, it's easier to remove that top layer of fat. Yeah, we waste a little bit of broth this way, but that's a sacrifice to get rid of this oil. All right, this is how I like my bát thai, on the side and rare, so that you could put it in the soup and cook it to your liking, almost like a shabu shabu. Now, most of the kids aren't going to be able to eat this. You're going to want them to eat it well done. So as we cook the noodles, we'll also cook their portion of raw beef in the boiling water. The reason we don't want to cook the beef inside our pho broth is that the beef is going to let off a little bit of blood, and it's going to cloudy up the soup. So we try to cook it in something separate before we put it in the soup. Let's do it. Okay. We're going to put our noodles in. Give them a quick stir here in the water. And that's it. They're done. And now when you're making your bowl, give yourself a nice piece of oxtail in here. And you got the tendon, some of the brisket. Grab yourself some of the meatballs out of here as well. Take some of the Thai basil and that sawtooth herb I was telling you about before, the sawtooth herb. Go ahead and rip this up, put it in here. Hit it with some sriracha and hoisin if you like. Make sure you give it a nice squeeze of lime. And let's get in here for a taste. broth is so deep and tender. It really is a lot different than the chicken pho. This is a lot more traditional. Let's take out some of this tendon. Oh, beefy gummy bears. Delicious. Take a piece of the raw beef right into my hot broth here. You can see, cooks up to a beautiful medium rare. We'll eat that. When it's not overcooked, it's perfectly tender. And that is a good bowl of pho right here. Check it out. Hey Instant Potheads, I hope you had a good time hanging out with me today making beef pho, right? Once you're eating it, put your sriracha sauce, the hoisin sauce in. As you can see, I clearly enjoyed my bowl of pho. It is all gone, all of it. As always, stay lubed, have a good time, get in the kitchen and cook. The Instant Pot is doing all the work. Thanks for watching another episode of Cuong Can Cook. This time we made beef pho. We'll catch you again next time, alright?